My fiancé said, "You're not ambitious like my ex. He actually had drive." I smiled. He did. Then I hired her ambitious ex at my company and made him my assistant. Her humiliation when he had to schedule our meetings and call me sir. Original post: I, 31 male, thought I had it all figured out. Engaged to Melissa, 29, for 6 months, together for 3 years. I run a mid-size logistics company that I built from scratch after college. Nothing Fortune 500, but we do about $12 million in revenue annually and employ 65 people. Melissa works in fashion retail management. She's always been status-obsessed, but I thought it was just ambition. Turns out it was something else entirely. The comment that started everything happened at her friend Tanya's engagement party 2 weeks ago. We were talking with some couples about careers when Melissa had too much wine and decided to be honest. "Trevor's great and all," she said, gesturing at me with her glass. "But sometimes I miss being with someone truly ambitious. My ex Brandon, now he had real drive. He was going places." The whole group went silent. I just smiled. "Brandon was definitely driven," I agreed calmly. She kept going. "He worked at Goldman Sachs. He had that hunger, you know, that corporate killer instinct. Not everyone can handle that lifestyle." She looked at me with this pitying expression. "Trevor's sweet running his little delivery company, but Brandon was Wall Street material." Her friend's husband tried to change the subject, mentioning my company just landed a major contract with a hospital network. Melissa waved it off. "It's cute, but it's not exactly high finance, is it?" I excused myself to get another drink. While at the bar, I made a decision. See, what Melissa didn't know was that Brandon had applied to my company 3 months earlier. I remembered the name because she'd mentioned him before. His resume had been interesting. 2 years at Goldman Sachs, analyst, not the hotshot she imagined, then bounced around 3 startups that all failed, currently unemployed for 8 months. I'd passed on his application initially. But now? Now I had a different idea. Monday morning, I called my HR director, Rachel. "That Brandon Fitzgerald who applied for the operations manager position? Set up an interview." "Really?" His experience seemed scattered. "I want to see him. Thursday, 2 p.m. Update 1 week later. The interview was fascinating. Brandon showed up in a suit that had seen better days, trying to project confidence that wasn't quite there anymore. He clearly didn't recognize my name or connect me to Melissa. Why would he? She always called me Trevor, who owns a delivery service, to her friends, not Trevor, who runs a $12 million logistics company. "So Brandon, tell me about your trajectory since Goldman Sachs." He launched into a rehearsed spiel about seeking new challenges and exploring entrepreneurial ventures. Translation: fired from Goldman, failed at everything since. "The startups didn't work out?" I asked. "Market conditions weren't favorable," he said. "But I learned valuable lessons about perseverance." Perseverance, right? Like persevering through sending 200 job applications according to his LinkedIn activity. "What interests you about logistics?" I asked. "Well, it's a growing field with stable opportunities." Translation: I desperately need a job and you're hiring. Here's where it got interesting. I offered him a position, but not the operations manager role. "I think you'd be perfect for executive assistant to the CEO." Me. His face went through several expressions: confusion, disappointment, then forced enthusiasm when I mentioned the salary. "Decent, but definitely not Goldman Sachs level. It's a great opportunity to learn the business from the top," I said. "You'd handle my calendar, travel arrangements, meeting prep, real insight into running a company." What I didn't say: you'll be scheduling my date nights with your ex-girlfriend and calling me sir in front of her. He accepted immediately. Of course he did. 8 months of unemployment does that. "Can you start Monday?" I asked. "Absolutely, Mr. Hayes. Please call me Mr. T. We keep things professional but friendly here." The best part? Melissa had no idea. I hadn't told her about the hire. She was too busy posting Instagram stories about manifesting big moves and leveling up in life. Brandon's first day was yesterday. I had him organize my office, learn our systems, and shadow me in meetings. He's competent enough, eager to please, desperate to keep this job. "Mr. T, you have a dinner reservation Thursday at 8 p.m. with Ms. Rodriguez," he said, reading from my calendar. "Actually, that's with my fiancée, Melissa Chen. Please update that." He froze. The color drained from his face. "Melissa? Chen?" Yeah, you might know her actually. She mentioned you two dated years ago. Small world, right? He stammered something about professionalism and keeping things separate. I waved him off. Ancient history, I'm sure. We're all adults here. The panic in his eyes was delicious. Update 2. 3 days later. Thursday arrived. I told Melissa I wanted to stop by my office before dinner to grab something. She agreed, though complained about having to see my little warehouse. We walked into the executive floor at 7:30 p.m. Brandon was still there, finishing reports I'd asked for. Brandon, perfect timing, I called out. Come meet my fiancée. The look on Melissa's face when Brandon walked around the corner in his assistant's lanyard was worth everything. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again like a fish gasping for air. Mel, Brandon said weakly. Brandon, why are you? Brandon's my new executive assistant, I said cheerfully. Been doing great work. Brandon, can you check if the Marchetti contract is ready for tomorrow? Yes, Mr. T, right away. He practically ran to his desk. Melissa grabbed my arm. We need to talk. Now. In my office, she exploded. You hired my ex as your assistant? Is that a problem? He said he was ambitious and driven. I needed someone with those qualities. This is insane. You're being petty and childish. Petty? I hired a qualified candidate who needed a job. You're the one who spent an entire party talking about how amazing he was compared to me. I was drunk. In vino veritas, babe. She stormed toward the door, then turned back. Make him quit. I can't make employees quit, Melissa. That would be illegal. Besides, he really needs this job. Been unemployed for 8 months, apparently. Her face went white. 8 months? Yeah, turns out Goldman Sachs let him go 2 years ago. Something about performance issues. The startups after that, all failed. He's been living with his parents. I watched her world tilt. Her ambitious, driven ex who was going places was fetching my coffee and calling me sir. This is cruel, she whispered. Cruel? I gave a struggling man a decent job. That's actually pretty kind. Want to grab dinner still? She left without another word. Didn't go to dinner. Didn't go home either. Went straight to her mother's house. Her mom, Gloria, called me an hour later. Trevor, what's this about you humiliating Melissa? I hired an employee, Gloria. If Melissa feels humiliated by her ex having a normal job, that's her issue. You did this to hurt her. I did this to help someone who needed work. The fact that Melissa spent months comparing me negatively to him? Well, now she can see how that comparison actually plays out. This is abusive behavior. Comparing your fiancé negatively to your ex at public events is abusive behavior, Gloria. Hiring someone who needs a job is just business. She hung up. Brandon tried to quit the next morning. Walked into my office shaking. Mr. T, I think it's best if I... Brandon, sit down. He sat. Did Melissa contact you? She called last night. She was upset. Did she tell you to quit? He nodded. Brandon, you need this job, correct? You've been unemployed for 8 months. You're living with your parents. Your LinkedIn shows you've applied to over 200 positions. His shoulders sagged. This is a good job, I continued. Fair pay, growth potential, stable company. You'd throw that away because your ex-girlfriend is embarrassed? It's complicated. It's not. You work for me, not her. You do good work, you keep your job, you quit because she demands it. Good luck explaining that gap to your next interviewer. He stayed. Update 3, 1 week later. The last week has been a masterclass in entitled meltdown. First, Melissa tried to ambush me at the office. Showed up Monday with her friend Tanya, the one whose party started this, for support. They marched past reception like they owned the place. Brandon saw them coming and tried to hide in the supply closet. I called him into my office right as they arrived. Brandon, I need you to take notes for this meeting, I said loudly. Melissa's face went red. We need to talk privately. Brandon's my assistant. He stays. Company policy for all unscheduled meetings. Tanya jumped in. This is psychological warfare, Trevor. You're torturing her. I'm running a business. Brandon, please document Miss Chen and Miss Walker's concerns. Brandon sat there with his laptop, typing frantically, avoiding everyone's eyes. Melissa tried a different approach. Baby, please. I love you. I made one stupid comment. Multiple comments. Over months. Brandon, did you get that? Miss Chen admits to multiple derogatory comparisons. This is sick, Melissa screamed. Brandon, tell him how sick this is. Brandon looked like he wanted to disappear into his chair. I just work here. "You're pathetic," she spat at him. "Both of you." Security escorted them out. I asked Brandon to write up an incident report. Then came the social media campaign. Melissa posted a long rant about narcissistic abuse and workplace harassment. Tagged my company. Big mistake. My lawyer sent her a cease and desist within 24 hours. Defamation is serious business. The post disappeared, but the damage to her narrative was done. Several mutual friends had screenshot it and sent it to me, appalled by her accusations. Her mom, Gloria, tried next. Showed up at my condo building, convinced the doorman she was surprising me for my birthday. It wasn't my birthday. "You're destroying my daughter." "Your daughter destroyed our relationship when she decided I wasn't good enough. She's had to take time off work. She's too humiliated to show her face." "That sounds like a personal problem. End this. Fire him." "I don't fire good employees to make my ex-fiancée happy." "Oh, did she not mention? We're done." I pulled out my phone, showed her the text I'd sent Melissa that morning, officially ending our engagement and asking her to return the ring. Gloria actually tried to slap me. I stepped back and she hit the door frame. The building security camera got everything. I filed a police report, but the peak entitlement came yesterday. Brandon came into my office, pale and shaking. "Mr. T, there's a situation." Melissa was in the lobby with a man I didn't recognize. Turns out it was her new boyfriend, some crypto guy named Austin she'd met on a dating app 3 days after we split. She was demanding Brandon be fired or she'd sue for emotional distress. I came down to the lobby with our head of security and Rachel from HR. "Miss Chen, you're trespassing. Leave immediately." Austin puffed up. "You can't talk to her like that. She has rights." "She has the right to leave before we call the police." "I'll ruin you," Melissa screamed. "I'll tell everyone what kind of psycho you are." "Brandon," I said calmly, "please call the police and report trespassing and harassment." Brandon pulled out his phone. The look on Melissa's face when her ambitious ex started dialing 911 on her behalf was priceless. They left before the cops arrived, but we filed the report anyway. Final update, 2 weeks later. It's been a month since I hired Brandon, and the dust has finally settled. Melissa's attempts at legal action went nowhere. Turns out judges don't sympathize with "he hired my ex-boyfriend and pays him a fair wage" as grounds for emotional distress. Her lawyer dropped her after she couldn't pay the retainer. The crypto boyfriend Austin disappeared after 2 weeks when he realized she was broke and drama-prone. She got fired from her retail management job after missing too many shifts for her mental health days and showing up drunk to a regional meeting. Her Instagram went from manifesting big moves to deleted entirely. Last I heard through mutual friends, she moved back in with Gloria and is working at a department store. Not management, sales floor. Brandon? Still working here. Turns out he's actually decent at the job when he's not trying to pretend he's a Wall Street hotshot. He keeps his head down, does his work, calls me Mr. T or Sir, without me having to ask. We had an interesting conversation yesterday. Can I be honest, Mr. T? Go ahead. When I dated Mel, she constantly compared me to other guys. Her friend's boyfriend who was a doctor. Her cousin's husband who owned restaurants. Nothing was ever enough. Sounds familiar. I tried so hard to be what she wanted. The Gordon Gekko thing. It wasn't me. Getting fired from Goldman was actually a relief, but I couldn't admit it. And now? Now I'm good at a normal job with a good boss who doesn't expect me to be anything but competent and professional. Glad to hear it. He paused at the door. She never appreciated what she had, did she? With either of us. No, Brandon, she didn't. The ring? She tried to keep it, claimed it was a gift. My lawyer reminded her that engagement rings are conditional gifts in our state. She FedExed it back last week with a note calling me various names. I sold it and donated the money to a local job placement charity. Seemed fitting. My company, doing better than ever. That hospital network contract led to 2 more. We're expanding, hiring more people, including a new operations manager since Brandon's doing well in his current role. Me, I'm dating someone new. Anna from the hospital network we contracted with. She thinks the whole story is hilarious and says she's glad Melissa showed me who she really was before we got married. Anna also makes more than me, and you know what? I'm totally fine with that. The revenge wasn't about destroying Melissa. It was about showing her that her whole value system was broken. The ambitious ex she lauded over me? He works for me now? Her status-obsessed worldview? It collapsed when faced with reality. She wanted to humiliate me by comparing me to Brandon. Instead, she humiliated herself by revealing how shallow her values were. Every time Brandon schedules my meetings, takes my calls, or says, "Yes, Mr. T," it's a reminder that ambition without ability is just empty posturing. Gloria still sends me angry texts occasionally. I don't respond. Brandon forwards them to our legal department as potential harassment evidence. Someone asked if I feel bad about the whole thing. Honestly, no. I gave an unemployed man a decent job. I showed my ex-fiancée who her hero really was. I dodged a bullet by not marrying someone who would never appreciate what she had. The only thing I regret, not seeing the red flags sooner. Like when she insisted we go to the most expensive restaurant in town for our anniversary but complained my company didn't have prestige. Or when she said my success didn't count because I didn't wear a suit to work. Brandon still works here. He's actually getting promoted next month to a real operations role, not assistant. He earned it. Melissa would probably lose her mind knowing her ambitious ex is succeeding, working for me. But she'll never know. She's blocked on everything, legally barred from contacting me or coming near my company, and living her new reality, where she's not the main character in anyone's success story anymore. Turns out I was ambitious after all. Ambitious enough to build something real, while she was fantasizing about something that never existed.